My cousin framed my son in a 100,000 euros jewelry robbery, so I exposed him and got him arrested. My name is Isabian. I am 34 years old and I am a purchasing manager at a local neighborhood construction supply store. According to my family, I am the responsible one. I am the older of two. Me, the quiet one, the one who crunches the numbers, and my sister Lucia, 30, the brilliant one, the one born for great things. I am married to Anna. We live in a small apartment in Villas with our son Leo, who is 8 months old and has 2 teeth that he shows off as if they were trophies. As a child, I was the one who cleared the dishes without being asked. Lucia was the star. Do not bother the girl. She has her conservatory audition. Do not tire her out. She has an exam tomorrow. Meanwhile, it was, can you go to the bank to pay the electricity bill? Can you take mom to the doctor? I never complained. It was my role. Background, shadow support. The house smells of zucchini puree and cold coffee. It is 7:14 in the morning. Leo is sleeping in his bassinet in the living room. Anna is trying to comb her hair with one hand while answering messages from her work group with the other. 23 notifications since 6:50 a.m. I am preparing the milk bottles. I check that the 10 o'clock bottle is in the fridge. I count bills and pacifiers like someone counting coins. The doorbell rings. It is not a single buzz, it is a burst. 3 short rings, then 2 long insistent ones. Are you expecting someone? Anna asks me, her hair half up. No, not at this hour. Not even deliveries. They ring again, louder this time. I go to the door. I peer through the peephole. 2 uniformed police officers. My heart makes a strange click like a cash register jamming. Yes, I ask, using the voice I use at work when something does not add up. National Police, Mr. Fabian Mos. That is me, open up please. I open the door. 2 officers enter, a tall woman with a ponytail and a man holding a blue folder. Their boots sound like they are marching down my hallway. We have received a complaint and a location warrant. We are here to arrest your son for a robbery of 100,000 euros, says the man with the folder, not quite looking at me as if he already knows what he is going to find. Anna appears behind me, pale. Leo lets out a whimper. I am frozen to the spot. Excuse me, I say. My son. Yes, your son. Residing at this address. Robbery at a jewelry store downtown. Estimated value 100,000 euros. The female officer reads without looking up. My son! A nervous laugh escapes me. My son is a baby. The officers look at me as if I have just told a bad joke. They walk into the living room. They see the bassinet. They see Leo in his cloud print pajamas, toothless on top with a teddy bear bib. They fall silent for a second that stretches into an eternity. That is him, the man says. That is Leo. He is 8 months old, Anna replies, covering him with his little blanket as if the world could burst through the window and take him away. The female officer asks for my identification, asks for the family record book. They copy down data, check the address on the warrant, check the son's name. There is a name on there that does not match any of ours, but it does have our last name. The male officer frowns. There is a mistake. Someone is using this address, he says. And in that moment, I feel something old and familiar rise in my throat. It is not fear. It is years of exhaustion. That feeling that the mistake always lands on the same person. Me. My phone rings. Mom. 7:22 a.m. I hang up. It rings again. 7:23. It rings again. 7:24. 3 calls in 2 minutes. I think Mom always calls when there is trouble, but never when everything is calm. Open the balcony. It is hot. The female officer says, kinder now, as if the air will clear our heads. I open it. Random scenes flash through my mind. Papers, signatures, loan guarantees. Just one favor, Danny. You are the one who knows numbers. And a very specific voice, Lucia's, the same as always, self-assured, caressing the words. Do not be so dramatic, Danny. You are the older brother. That is what you are here for. I send a voice message to Mom. Everything is fine. I will call you later. 30 seconds later, a message from Lucia arrives. What have you done now? People are texting me. Not good morning. Not are you okay? Just that. As if the mistake were inevitably mine. The officer hands me back my identification. We are going to verify with the inspector. It could be a nephew, someone with the same name, someone who gave your address. Do not go anywhere, she says. Anna squeezes my hand. I look at Leo and say in a low voice, my son is a baby. God, do not shout, Anna whispers. Listen. The boots return to the hallway. The officers step out for a moment to talk on their radio. We are left in silence. The only sounds are Leo's breathing and the coffee maker, which is still on out of habit. My phone vibrates again. Lucia again, Danny. Mom says you were making a scene with the police at your house. What did you do? And in that message, unintentionally, I feel the first crack of the day. That small rumble that announces something is about to break. The story of how I ended up with 2 police officers in my living room does not begin today. It begins years ago when I still used to say yes without thinking. When Dad was healthy, when Lucia was already a promise. When I believed that being useful was the same as being loved. Dad had a bicycle shop. I learned to adjust brakes before I learned to shave. Lucia played the piano in competitions. What hands, what an ear, everyone would repeat about me. They would say, he is so responsible. That word that sounds like a compliment but weighs like a tombstone when they hang it on you forever. At 19, I started working and studying accounting at night. By 22, I was already paying half the mortgage. Dad would pat me on the shoulder. Without you, I do not know what I would do. Lucia, on the other hand, was studying at an expensive music school. It is her future. Mom would say she has a gift. I kept quiet and crunched the numbers. It is just for now, I would tell myself. Then came the first emergency. Lucia was going on tour with a quartet. They were about €200 short for the trip. Danny, it is the opportunity of a lifetime, Dad said with that mix of pride and urgency. I gave them the money. We will pay you back later. That money never came back, but more emergencies did. Danny, your father's car, €800. Danny, the repair for Lucia's piano, €600. Danny, the rent went up, €200. Danny, the tuition, €1,500. And always the same ending. Thanks, son. You are a treasure. I convinced myself that this gratitude was enough, that family is just like that. But whenever I asked for something, can you watch Leo for an afternoon? Anna has a shift and I am closing up at the hardware store. The answer was, well, Lucia has rehearsal. Well, your father is tired. As if their time was made of gold and mine was loose change. When Dad got sick, everything intensified. Hospital shifts, bills. I organized everything. Appointments, paperwork, insurance. Lucia would come on Sundays, play a few chords to cheer him up and leave. Her music is so necessary, Mom would say. I would wait in line at the administration office and pay. Your organization is so necessary, they would say. Sometimes not even that. I married Anna, a simple girl, Mom said, as if it were a lesser metal. Anna works as an assistant at a nursing home. She is strong and calm. When Leo was born, everything became small and urgent at the same time. The fridge, the late nights, the bills. And still, I continued to carry the weight of 2 households on my shoulders. Then Marcos, my Uncle Miguel's son, entered the scene. My cousin, 24 years old, a charming face, poor judgment, always in Lucia's shadow in family photos. She in the center, he laughing off to the side. A year ago, he disappeared from the Christmas dinner with dessert in hand and reappeared a month later, asking Mom for €500 for a course. They gave him €200. Then he came to me for rent. I gave him €150. He never paid any of it back. In March, the bank called me. They had tried to open an account with my identification. I went in. They told me the system blocked it because the identification did not match the photo. Someone had used my name and my address. I filed a report. My hands were shaking as I signed. This happens a lot, the police officer at the station said. Sometimes it is family, sometimes not. I shook my head. Family? No. I was raised with the idea that family does not stab you in the back. But the comment stuck with me. Meanwhile, Lucia was advancing. She uploaded videos to Instagram. Lucia Mo's piano, tours in auditoriums, photos in expensive dresses. On every post, Mom commented with hearts. Underneath I would put a discreet bravo. She never commented on my photos of Leo. One day I texted her, "Can you guys come see him on Saturday?" She left me on read. 2 days later she replied, "I have rehearsal." Another day last Monday. Mom called me at 8:07 a.m. A missed call. 8:09, another 8:11. Another, I called back. "Son, someone called asking for your boy. They mentioned a debt. I told them I did not know anything. But please take care of your affairs. It is embarrassing for us." She said it, and that word burned me, embarrassment. "What boy?" "Mom, Leo is 8 months old." "I do not know, Fabian. They said your son." I got scared. I called your sister to ask if she knew anything. She told me to talk to you, that you are the one who handles the accounts. You are the one who handles the accounts. Of course, that same afternoon, Lucia texted me. "Mom is nervous about the thing with your son. Take him for a checkup. We do not want it to be anything serious." I replied, "It is about an adult debt." She left me on read. Anna found me staring at the ceiling. "What is wrong?" she asked. "In this family, if money is involved, it is always my problem." "It is not your family, it is our family," she said, hugging me. "And I am not going to let them break you." On Wednesday at 9:40 a.m., Marcos posted an Instagram story in a sports car with the boys, he wrote. I looked at the faux leather seats. I laughed so I would not cry. I commented, nice rental. A minute later I got a private message, calm down cousin, it is not yours. I left it at that. My stomach was in knots. Today at 7:14 a.m. The police were at my door. Someone had used my address to hide €100,000 jewelry theft, and the warrant said, son of Fabian Minos, my 8-month-old son. While the officers were talking on the radio, my phone was exploding. Mom again, 7:27, 7:29, 7:33, then Aunt Carmen. Is everything okay? A voice message 58 seconds long. I listened to it. Danny, honey, they are saying in the family grouse. What happened? Is it because of Lucieri nervous? You've resolved within the family. You have always been the most level-headed one. Do not fail us. Do not fail us. I have heard that phrase for as long as I can remember. Do not fail us, but do not expect anything in return. Do not fail us, but open your wallet. Do not fail us, but if you get tired, do not make a sound. The officers returned from the hallway. We have spoken with the inspector. The name listed as the son does not match your baby's. Obviously it does, however, match a 24-year-old adult last name Minos who is on record as having given this address, the female officer said. My cousin? I said without thinking. Name? The male officer asked. Marcos. They looked at each other, took notes. The officer said, we will check it out. It might be a misunderstanding, but if he gave this address, we will be back to ask questions. We will require your cooperation. Do not leave the city. Anna leaned against the doorframe. I nodded. The officer looked at me with a mixed expression of apology and procedure. And please take care of your documentation. This happens a lot, she said, repeating the same thing they told me in March. When they left, the apartment felt empty of boots, but full of internal noise. I sat on the floor. Anna handed me a cup of now cold coffee. Leo opened his eyes and looked at me as if everything were simple. Hunger, sleep, diaper. Are you going to call your mother? Anna asked. Yes, I called. Mom answered after 2 rings. Son, what have you done? She blurted out as if a verdict had already been reached. Nothing, Mom. They came because of a wrong address. They are looking for Marcos. Marcos? No way. Marcos is a good boy. He's probably just mixed up in some kid stuff. Besides, if he gave your address, it must be for a reason. You've always been like a brother to him. Mom, my son is a baby and they came for my son. Oh, do not be so dramatic. You always exaggerate. Talk to your cousin. Help him. That is what family is for. And right there, I knew the confusion was not an accident. It was the same old pattern, reappearing with a different mask. On Saturday, they had a family lunch to talk it over at my parents' house. 2:30 p.m., I brought a Spanish omelet. Anna made a potato salad. Lucia arrived late, wearing sunglasses, expensive perfume, a picture-perfect smile. Marcos was there with an it-is-no-big-deal look on his face. Dad was quiet for most of the meal. He coughed more. He looked at his plate. Mom kept filling glasses and avoiding my eyes. The topic came up during dessert. Danny, Mom began, we have to sort out this address thing. The police asked about your cousin. He said he lives at your house. That is not true. No, obviously not. I said he lives with his father or his friends. Who knows? Marcos smirked. It was a misunderstanding, cousin. I gave your address because there is always someone there for, mail. I did not think that the police would come to arrest my 8-month-old son for 100,000 robbery, I finished. A silence fell. Lucia raised her hand as if in a rehearsal. Okay, we are all on edge, but the important thing here is to help. Marcos is in trouble. And you, Danny, you are the most organized one. You can talk to a lawyer, fix the paperwork, negotiate something. Negotiate what, Lucia? I asked. She sighed like someone explaining the obvious. The owner of the jewelry store is demanding 100,000 euros. We know it is not all real, that they inflate the numbers, but we have to put something on the table. If we put down, I do not know, 20,000 euros. Now, he will calm down, then we will see. You have always known how to bring order to things. 20,000. The number landed like a stone in the middle of the table. Excuse me, Anna said for the first time. 20,000 from where? Lucia looked at me, not at Anna. Danny, you have savings and you are responsible for the baby, for the rent. You know how to deal with banks. You could get a loan. Marcos will pay you back. I laughed. It was an ugly sound. Marcos did not pay me back 150 euros, I said. This is different. Mom said, this is serious. The family cannot be tarnished by this. Your sister has concerts. Your father is frail. We cannot handle a scandal. If you help now, you help all of us. We will make it up to you later. How? I asked. How did you make it up to me for the tuition, for the car, for the piano? Mom pressed her lips together. Do not start keeping score, son. That is ugly. I always keep score, I said. It is the only thing I have done since I can remember. Dad looked up. Son, do not fight. Just fix it. Marcos held up his hands. Look, cousin, I did not steal anything. I was with some people. They used me. I just gave your address because you're family and you're, the one who fixes things. I saw myself from the outside. The one who fixes things, the one who pays, the one who stays quiet. I felt the hard chair against my back, my throat dry. I looked at Anna, who was looking at me with a mix of love and alarm. I took a slow breath and spoke for the first time without my voice shaking. I am not putting up 20,000 euros. I am not getting a loan. I am not talking to a lawyer for something I did not do. I am not putting my name or my son's name on the line to get Marcos out of a mess he got himself into. No. Lucia let out a short laugh. Do not get all high and mighty, Danny. This is not about you. It is about the family. The family is not an ATM, I said. Mom slapped the table with her palm. Lower your voice, the neighbors. Anna took my hand. I continued. I have paid bills, tuition, repairs. I have given my time, my nights, my days. If you want something more now, the answer is no. Lucia scowled. What is wrong with you? Is it envy? Does it bother you that I have gotten so far? I looked at her tired. This is not about your careers. It is about my limits. You are getting revenge, Mom said, her eyes wet. I shook my head. No, this is not about revenge. This is about putting a final stop to it. The phrase came out on its own, like I had read it somewhere and saved it for a day like this. I liked how it sounded. Closure, closing a door without slamming it, another silence. Marcos mumbled. So what do I do? You show up with a public defender and tell the truth, I said, and you change your life. If not, the police will come again. But you are not entering my house, nor my bank account, and you are staying far away from my son. Lucia looked at me as if she were seeing a stranger. You are breaking the family, she said. The family was already broken. I was just the one holding it together with my hands. Mom got up and went to the kitchen. I heard the tap water running. Dad looked down again. Anna squeezed my hand tighter. I felt light and scared at the same time. The following days were a carousel of missed calls and marathon text messages. My phone's call log looked like a medical chart. 9:01 a.m., Mom. 9:15, Aunt Carmen. 9:17, Lucia. 9:21, Dad. I did not answer most of them. I answered only the necessary ones. I learned to look at the name and breathe before deciding. The first night, I dreamed I opened the door to a river of people asking for favors. I woke up with my shirt stuck to my back. Anna handed me some water. You are doing the right thing, she said. You are not alone. At the hardware store, my boss asked if everything was okay. I nodded. I talked to him about screws, about a new order for pliers that were missing. At 11:03 a.m., Mom called. Son, your cousin is doing very badly. He is scared. He does not know where to start. Could you? No, Mom. I already said what I will and will not do. If Marcos wants, I will send him the number for the public defender's office. How cold, she said. I do not recognize you. I recognize myself, I replied, and hung up with cold hands. Lucia left me 12 voice messages in one day. I listened to one. It summed them all up. Danny, look, I spoke to some people. If we put up 15,000 euros now, the jewelry store will drop the complaint and this will all be forgotten. It is affecting me professionally. They already canceled one of my performances. Do not be selfish. Besides, you can do it. You always could. Do not make things difficult for us. I sent her a text back. No, she replied with a 14-line paragraph. I did not read it. Silence. I learned to use the silence button like someone learning to turn off a dripping faucet. Marcos messaged me on WhatsApp. Bro, sorry about the address thing. I was not thinking. I am scared. If you help me, I swear I will change. Talk to the lawyer, tell the truth, pay back what you can, work and change, I replied. What if they put me inside? I cannot prevent that. He stopped writing. A little while later, he sent me a screenshot. Appointment with lawyer. Monday, 10:30 a.m. I felt something like a rough sense of relief. That same day at 6:22 p.m., the police called again. This time, they did not come in. They asked if I knew Marcos's whereabouts. I gave them his number. They thanked me. The officer said, you did the right thing setting boundaries. These things get complicated when family thinks it is just a favor. I know, I said, and hung up with a mix of shame and pride I had never felt before. Anna and I agreed on a simple plan. Sleep when possible. Take Leo for a walk every day, even if just for 20 minutes. Make short to-do lists. We stuck a sheet of paper on the fridge. Actual monthly expenses. There were small but clear numbers. Rent, electricity, diapers, milk. The sum in red, 973 euros. The bank account balance in blue, 1,200 euros. We have a margin, Anna said and smiled. It was the first time in weeks that a number did not make me want to run. On Thursday, Mom showed up at our door unannounced. 8:50 a.m. She was carrying a bag with Tupperware and a cloud on her face. "I came to see Leo," she said, not quite looking at me. I let her in. She played with him for 5 minutes, then started. "Your sister is devastated. They are saying your cousin dragged her into his stories, and now a concert series does not want to hire her. If you had just—" "Mom," I cut her off. "No, not anymore. What kind of son are you?" She snapped, and the blow did not land on my chest. It hit somewhere deeper. I breathed. "The kind of son who is also a father and a husband and a person." She fell silent. She looked at Leo, who was sucking on his foot. With an abrupt gesture, she left the bag on the table. "I brought you lentils. Eat," she said, as if that could erase what she just said. "Thanks," I replied. "But do not come like this. If you want to come, call first. If you come, do not ask me for money or blame me. If you cannot do that, it is better if you do not come." She looked at me as if I had said something outrageous. "You are giving your own mother conditions?" she asked, offended. "No, I am setting them for myself. You decide if you will respect them," I said. She left without another word. That afternoon, she sent me a text. "Sorry for yelling, I am on edge." I sent her a photo of Leo with a spoonful of puree. She replied with a heart. Silence. Lucia did not write for 2 days. Then she appeared with an unexpected message. "The police called me to ask about Marcos. I told them the truth. Do not drag me into this." I laughed wearily. I was never dragging her into anything, but she was in the middle of everything without wanting to get her hands dirty. The following Saturday was Dad's birthday, 67. I went with Anna and Leo. I brought a cake. Lucia did not come. "I have a gala." We arrived at 1:17 p.m. There were 3 wrinkled balloons and a tablecloth with old stains. Dad smiled when he saw Leo. "Look at him. He already has a mischievous face," he said, and gave me a hug that smelled of metal and old cologne. Mom was tense but polite. We ate lentils, the same ones from the other day. Midway through, she brought it up. "Marcos went with the lawyer. They say if he returns part of it, he will not go to jail," Dad said without looking at me. "And where is he going to get the money to return?" I asked. "I do not know. Mom said he will work. Could you help him get a job at the hardware store?" "I am not going to do that," I said. "I am sorry." Silence fell, but it did not burn me anymore. It felt like putting a heavy backpack on the floor. It is heavy, but it is on the floor. That afternoon, I received 7 calls from unknown numbers. I did not answer. Finally, a voice message. "This is the owner of the jewelry store. If you want this to not get any bigger, you will talk to me. Your cousin told us you would be taking care of it." I deleted the message, blocked the number, and sent a text to Marcos. "Do not ever give my number to anyone again." He replied, "Sorry." I blocked Marcos too. I slept like I had not slept since Leo was born, a deep, heavy sleep for 4 straight hours. When I woke up, I felt a space in my head that used to be occupied by voices. I took the opportunity to clean out my email, set up filters, unsubscribe from things, delete urgent messages that were not. I saved the documents from the police report in a digital folder, Identity Theft March. I set a password. I sent it to Anna. "In case something happens to me, it is all there," I said. "Nothing is going to happen to you," she replied. "I know, but now I think of myself the way I think of my spreadsheets with order." On the 3rd day of not answering Lucia, I got a message from Dad. "Your sister is coming for lunch on Sunday. Are you coming?" I thought about it. I replied, "Yes, with conditions. If money is discussed, I am leaving. If blame is discussed, I am leaving. If there is respect, I will stay." Dad sent a thumbs-up emoji. It was the first time he'd accepted a boundary without arguing. On Sunday, the table was quiet at first. Lucia arrived dressed in black, her eyes hidden. She ate little, talked about nothing. Then suddenly she let it out. "They canceled 2 of my dates. They said they do not want any trouble. I am sorry," I said. "You could have prevented," she said. I picked up my glass calmly. "No, Marcos could have prevented it, and you could have if you had stopped asking someone else to fix your problems. Someone else." "You are my brother," she said. "Yes. And I am also Leo's father," I replied. Anna touched my knee under the table. Mom for once said nothing. Dad said, "Let us have dessert." And we did, and I stayed. I did not leave because for the first time a family meal was not a complete ambush. It was uncomfortable, yes, but I did not feel guilty for breathing. That night I checked our bank account again. The balance had not changed much, but I had. 3 weeks have passed since the police visit. Marcos showed up with his lawyer. He got a serious reprimand and a blurry future. I do not know if he will go to prison. It is not my problem. I closed doors to unknown numbers, to debts disguised as favors, to speeches about family first that only ever meant "Danny, you pay." Mom calls less. When she does, she asks about Leo, really asks. He is crawling now. Lucia does not speak to me except to send photos of concert programs with my name on the list of invited family members. Scratched out. It makes me laugh. Dad sends me short texts. I love you, son. I reply, me too. We do not talk about money. My house is quieter. It is not a sad silence. It is a usable silence. I can hear Leo breathing when he sleeps. I can hear Anna humming softly when she does the dishes. I have learned to leave my phone face down after 8 p.m. I have learned to write no without having to justify it with a 10-paragraph essay. I did not get rich. I did not become a hero. I just stopped being an ATM, and the world did not end. The world rearranged itself. There are calls I do not return and I do not feel bad. There are messages I do not read and I do not feel guilty. There are boundaries that used to be pencil lines and are now brick walls. With doors, yes, but with locks. Sometimes I look at Lucia's social media. I see her play. I am happy for her if she is doing well. If she is doing badly, I do not run to her rescue. If she asks me for money, the answer will be the same. I do not hate anyone. I am not keeping an inventory of grievances. I am just keeping my boundaries and my small family, the one that sleeps in my house, Anna and Leo. If I learned anything from all this, it is this. Loving is not paying. Being the eldest is not being the bank. Responsibility without reciprocity is exploitation with good manners. And saying no does not break families. It only breaks habits. I will close with what I said to myself that day at the table when it came out in English, because it just did. And maybe that is why I truly hurt myself. This is not about revenge. This is about putting a final stop to it. To close in order to open. To close in order to grow. To close so that my son, that baby they once wanted to arrest, learns that his father did not let just anyone come stomping through his house with their boots on. I will not allow my name, my account, or my silence to be used again. I will not trade my hours for the promise of an empty thank you. I will not use my son as a shield. I am the same man I always was, but now with a lock. And for the first time I sleep without the feeling that someone is waiting in line at my door. As the curtain falls on this personal story, let us look at the bigger picture. The story may have ended, but its echoes open up a larger discussion about the invisible roles many people carry inside their own families. What happened here is not simply a misunderstanding involving a police warrant, a reckless cousin, or a desperate demand for money. It is the result of a long pattern that society quietly encourages. One person becomes the responsible one, the dependable pillar who fixes problems, absorbs consequences, and keeps the family image intact. Over time, that role hardens into expectation, and expectation slowly transforms into entitlement. The moment that expectation was challenged, when a man refused to pay yet another emotional and financial debt for others, the system that relied on him began to tremble. Families often speak about harmony, loyalty, and sacrifice as if they are sacred values, and in their pure form, they are. But these words are also easily twisted. Harmony can become silence in the face of injustice. Loyalty can become pressure to protect wrongdoing. Sacrifice can become a polite name for exploitation. In many households, the person who says no is immediately accused of being selfish, cold, or ungrateful. Yet what we witnessed here reveals something important. The real fracture in a family does not begin when someone sets a boundary. It begins much earlier, when responsibility flows in only one direction and gratitude replaces fairness. When I step out of the role of narrator and speak more personally, I think about how frightening that first no must have felt. For years, the protagonist believed that being useful was the same as being loved. Many of us grow up believing something similar. We measure our worth through what we provide, what we fix, what we sacrifice. But eventually there comes a moment when continuing to carry everything becomes more destructive than refusing. That moment rarely feels heroic. It feels uncomfortable, even guilty. Yet courage in family life is rarely loud or dramatic. It often appears as a quiet sentence spoken at the dinner table, "I'm not doing this anymore." And perhaps that is the real turning point of the story. The protagonist did not destroy his family. He simply refused to play the role that allowed dysfunction to continue. By doing so, he created something healthier for the only family he is truly responsible for now, his partner and his child. Boundaries, after all, are not walls built out of hatred. They are doors with locks, built so respect must knock before entering. So here is the question that remains, one that many people quietly face in their own homes. If protecting your peace and your child's future required you to refuse helping a family member who created their own crisis, and your entire family accused you of betrayal for it, would you stand firm, or would you sacrifice yourself once again to keep the illusion of family harmony?